happy to be here. It's Elena in the Feminine Leadership Friday series in the Healing Sounds of Feminine Leadership. And I just really appreciate your dialing in, whether you're here live right now or whether you're dialing in afterwards. It's the wonderful thing about internet is that we can record and you can watch at any time. If you are here live, it's a particularly auspicious time because we are at the end of the week, Friday in the evening, which traditionally is when that feminine power comes out, as is exemplified by the prophetess Miriam. If you don't know prophetess Miriam, Miriam was the sister of Moses, and it is she who exemplifies, she's the archetype of feminine leadership, of feminine power, that power that knows its value, that it doesn't have to assert itself, doesn't have to say, follow me, do it my way. And if you don't know how the other way works, just go look outside your window, turn on your television set, go search your average social media, and you get the picture. This power is here for good. This power knows its value. It's not looking outside. And that's what we're doing here today. And that's why I'm showing up right now. The Shabbat, Kabbalat Shabbat, in Hebrew means the receiving of the Sabbath. When I'm saying Sabbath, I'm not referring in a religious sense, though that's the only way that we really know Sabbath is in a Jewish or a Christian or a Muslim context. I'm not referring to that. I'm referring to the feminine power, to the essence behind that, which is found in the silence behind the sound. And in Hebrew itself, it's a spiritual language. There are secret keys in there to our wisdom, to wisdom of wise living, of calm living, of balance. But it's not cognitive. Hebrew is a spiritual language, and it's based in the feminine. The ancient languages, Hebrew and Arabic, the Semitic languages and the Ugaritic languages in Hindi, and from that area of the world, and then Chinese in that area of the world. Those ancient languages were adopted and came about as we were still operating from the intuitive silent brain. And in Hebrew is first written language. And the letters in and of themselves, they hold powerful energy. And you don't have to understand because it's not from a cognitive space. So the chant that I sang at the beginning, Mi ha'ish habakish chaim, oev yamim lirot tov. Who is Mi ha'ish habakish chaim? Who is the person who really is showing up for life, who's embracing life, the one who is asking and ready and embracing and allowing for it? That's the person who loves the days, meaning love in the aspect of accepting. And then when we come to Kabbalat Shabbat, Kabbalah means to receive. It's a feminine aspect. Ohev yamim lirot tov. Loving the days, showing up, accepting what is, and whatever is, seeing the good. Second part is natzon lashon. So then it's not implied here in the words, but in what isn't said, what's behind the words, in the silence. Natzon lashon chamera. So who's the one who's really showing up, the one who's looking for the good no matter what is, all right? And then, how is that? How could that be? And the next phrase is, Natzon lashon chamera. Stop your tongue from negativity. Usfatecha midaber mirma, and your lips from speaking negativity. Sur mera asetov. Sur mera, like limit yourself from negativity and instead respond doing well. Bakesh shalom verodfehu. Ask for peace and run after it. I don't know what other prayer there is more appropriate than today. I had can you? Do you know another prayer that's more appropriate than that? Put it in the comments below. I'd like to know. And can you relate to this? Say yes, no in the comments below. So I very consciously am not watching the media. Do I know what's going on? Absolutely, I know what's going on. I live in Midtown Los Angeles where the riots are going on, where 5 minutes ago I just received a little note on, in my phone, warning, tomorrow, protest, Pan Pacific Park. Like literally, I walk out my door, out of the complex of where I live, and across the street is Pan Pacific Park. Yet I know that if I go and I react to that, even I want to do good, like the chant says, asetov, bakeshalom verodfehu, do good. Do good is not reacting. That's eye for eye. I learned that in the wars in Israel. I moved to Israel knowing I'm part of a solution. That's my choice. I don't know what that is. I don't know what it looks like. I'm not this do-gooder wanting to do good. That's bullshit. That's my ego wanting to do good. I can't change the world. Neither can you. I can change how I respond. So when the war came, I go, how do I respond? I was shut down. I was performing in this huge festival of 50,000, 60,000 people in this gorgeous, in the Armageddon forest, like literally in the ancient site of Armageddon. And the Intifada, the Mideast crisis, starts, and we're shut down in the forest for 5-6 days. Couldn't get home. We got home, we went through Wadi Alla. It's like, oh my God, what destruction was there. And that happened to me this last week when I went to the market on, after the weekend, and I don't know, whenever I felt okay walking to the market with my mask on, I saw, my God, what mayhem. It reminded me of the Intifada. And at that point, when I got home, I remember turning on the radio. This is before the days of internet, and the energy was just so stressed, so panicked, and so tit for tat, eye for eye. It's like, I'm not doing that, God. If I came all this way, how do I respond? And I didn't know. I just sat silent, listened, practicing a practice that became the practice that finally the voice said, well, go to the hospital near here. It serves a 50-50 Israeli-Palestinian population. And you go and you offer the music to them because that place is going to be ballistic. I've never done that before, but I did. And it resulted in a 3-year fully funded medical research project. The voice said, you are full of shit, lady. You're not a doctor. They're going to kick you out of there. And there was a process, but they didn't kick me out of there. And I thought, if I'm full of shit, then what I know inside of me that makes no sense, nothing will pan out. I'll go back to LA. I won't ask any more questions. And I had already left LA. We're talking about 2000, and I left LA in 1991. So it was 9 years after I had left the States. And if I'm not full of shit, then there'll be results in this, and then we'll be able to go back and decipher. We can build a model, because in the world, we live in a cognitive world, and that's what panned out. So Voices of Eden, is the model of it, is the result of those 3 years of the research project. But that research project wouldn't have happened without the Intifada. Because I wouldn't have sat there going, if a war comes out, it's like, I'm not participating. Because if I react, I'm part of the problem. If you want to do good, change, you're part of the problem. It's just resistance. The alternative is when you get stirred up, you can ask yourself, how can I contribute to solution? How can I show up as the solution? And my dear, you can show up as the solution because you are the solution. But how are you showing up being you, honoring you, sharing you, your voice? It's really, really important. Not sharing your voice if it's physical voice or it's another act. Not to do something. How are you showing up for your own peace? נצור לשון חמיה ושפתיך ידבר ממרמה סומרה עשה טוב בכשלום ועודפהו. נצור לשון חמרה. Stop your tongue from speaking ill. That includes speaking ill of your own power. Because when you speak ill of your own power, you don't have anything to give. You got to fill your own well first, and then you have something to give that's overflowing. And why do we have all this mayhem? Because we're all like, my way, my way, my way, my way. It's eye for an eye. There's no solution there. And there's nothing really wrong with it either. That's how we humans have lived. And we've gotten to a point where we have the opportunity to move on. And that is where the power of Miriam and the feminine power really is quite useful, quite practical, because it allows us to live in that space of the crack where nothing makes sense. But when you go beyond your mind, when you're willing to go beyond your mind, you end up in your higher mind. When you go beyond the sound of your voice and connect with the silence behind it to the source of your power, connected deeply. I can hear that. I don't know whether you can hear the police sirens outside. Reminds me of another story that once we were in and doing the research, so it's in a NICU, and I'd never done this before, and I'm not a doctor, but I know that there's a power greater than a doctor, than the hospital, than the machinery. There's something that's animating us all, and we can align with that at any moment because we're part of it. When we're up here and reacting, we disengage, which is Bakeshalom ve'odfehu. Ask for peace and go after it. But it's not going after it there. It's going after it here. So there I am in the ICU with Miriam's drum, with the drum, all right? And there I am, and there are monitors, and it's mayhem in there. And it's always a test. The thing that I noticed all the time, I would never start until there was silence and focus. And that is the first element of this ancient healing music modality and of the therapeutic singing. It's like without that, there's no therapy in it. The other thing is that can you hear the sirens? It's like acknowledging the whole. So while the sirens are going up, I'm singing and drumming wordlessly, and the monitors start beeping. And the first times that happened, oh my God, I freaked out. Oh my God, am I killing the baby? Is it my fault? Oh my God, oh my God. And I didn't know what to do till I practiced this first element and stopped using the drum. And then, look for where the flow is. Then I started using the monitor as the metronome. Oh my God, it was so fun. Oh my God, then the babies relaxed because someone was relating to them instead of reacting to the fire and the sirens and the beeping and the fear. And it was so fun. I mean, really fun. I never saw these pea-sized babies, that some of them lived, some of them didn't. But I never saw that part. I always looked at, is that freaking amazing? There's an entire human being, like the size of this, 500 grams, it's like a half of a pound. A pound. Amazing. Amazing. So I want to invite you for this weekend. How can you go after your peace within and use whatever is going outside to help you within? And if you want to and you can't, reach out to me. I'm happy to speak to you. Because how difficult can it be for you to be who you already are and connect to what's already within? Doesn't cost you any money, doesn't take any time, doesn't cost you anything except your victimhood. Oh my God! Well, if only, right? If only. Which reminds me of my last story. Here's the point. Here's the point. You want to bakeshalom ve'od fehu, ohev yamim lir'ot tov. How do we really see the good and seize the good no matter what's going on? So I'm living in in Upper Galilee. This is in 2006, and then another war comes. This was the war with Hezbollah in Lebanon, and I lived in this just bucolic, beautiful health village overlooking Sea of Galilee. I mean, it's the Garden of Eden. It's gorgeous. And when the war came, whoever fled, went to Tel Aviv, went to the center of the country to get away from the war. And this was after the research, and I thought, how am I going to go to Tel Aviv and pretend like I didn't flee from my home, in the war? That to me is even worse. That to me is more stressful because then I won't know what's going on. Well, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to stay, and I'm going to use this approach. And it's all fine and dandy to see how well you can live lir'ot tov, how you can see, live well when all is well. But how well can you live with yourself? How peaceful can you be when bombs are blasting? Well, I don't have any control when this body goes or not. So I'm gonna use this as my laboratory now. And it was really amazing. One day, they have these sirens 90 seconds before the bombs drop, and that gives you 90 seconds to run to a safe room. And if you're like to a bomb shelter, and if you're not next to a bomb shelter, if you're in your home and your home doesn't have a safe room in it, which newer homes are all required to have them, but if you're in an older home like I lived in, the safe places, like any little corridor, any little space that has no windows, it's like a middle room. And in my home, it happened to be this, around this, maybe this large of a corridor from the living room to the bathroom. And so I'm like sitting down in the corridor for the bathroom, and the siren's there, and my mind is like, how come we just can't live in peace? And the voice comes back saying, well, sweetheart, how well are you living in peace in war? How willing are you to accept all, because peace and war, they're flip sides of the same thing. And that gave me pause. It's like, oh my freaking God. And that shifted things. So when the mayhem was running loose, I practiced this same process that I teach and now certify people. That is so friggin' exciting because it's bringing back this ancient stature of the feminine leadership of Miriam and many others to earn. If this speaks to you, you're welcome. We started just this last week. It's not too late. I could put the link below. You're welcome to join us if this speaks to you. If you have any questions, I'm happy to speak to you as well. But I just practiced that. And what I found was, as I did that, I got quieter and quieter. But not quiet like la-di-da, quiet. No, it's like, fuck, all hell's breaking loose. Yet, to the extent that all hell broke loose and I didn't know what to do, where to go, it's not like somebody was standing there with a gun next to my head. It felt like it. But what I found is that in each and every present moment, choosing to connect to the source of my power, what terrified me and panicked me and brought me such anxiety, filled me with this calm. Isn't even the word, it's another paradigm, so I don't really have words for it. But I felt Ohev Yamim Lirot Tov. It's like there was value to that, not cognitively. And that actually is what led to, I started writing a blog because there was internet at that point. And I felt so well used because people were freaking out. They see the news, and news is selling fear. Voices of Eden is the result of a prayer that I had when I was a broadcaster for CBS during the Olympics in France. And I prayed to use my voice for a higher purpose because I saw what was being sold. It's war, rape, pillage, sensationalism, terrorizing people to generate sales of whatever product will be sold to answer your ill. That's how commercial media works. And I don't want to be part of that. Please let me use my voice for a higher purpose. That's what Voices of Eden is. And today, the internet, I also realized, I'm going to be using media for constructive purposes. And that's the reason that I'm here right now, speaking the way I am. So friggin' fun. Do I have a plan? No. Do I know what's coming in another moment? No. Do I feel good? Friggin' yes. There's no other place I'd rather be because I'm being well used, serving the highest good. And far be it from me to know how that's quantified. But I will tell you something, that every time I show up in that place, it has always led to such good. So I'm going to leave you with this to please, please allow for your good. So much good will come, and you are so worth it. It's right where you are. Ohev yamim lir'oto האיש הבקש חיים אוהב ימים לרעותו נצור לשון חמר ושפתיך ידבר ממרמה סור מעשה טוב בקש שלום לעודהו נצור לשון חמר ושפתיך shalom, ve'od ve'u, ve'od ve'u, ve'od ve'u. I invite you to do something really, really kind for yourself today and this entire weekend, because you really, really deserve it. This is Elianaki. Makeshalo Beodfehu, ask for good and go after that instead of reacting to the negative. That's your choice. You don't have any control what goes on outside of you, but you've got 150% control over how you respond. How are you going to respond? We need to hear your voice. We need to see you and hear you as you are. You matter. Your voice really matters. And if you liked this, would you please let me know? Do you want to see more? I'm having fun, and I'd like to do more of these. If you're interested, I will do more. Let me know. And if you have any ideas, what would you like to see? Please comment below. And any comments you have. I'm showing up live, real, unscripted, authentic, in the moment, unplanned, modeling, showing up and sharing what I have to share. And I'm not existing in a vacuum. I'm here to be of service to you. So the extent to which you provide feedback, then I can be of more service. I have given them mine. Now it's your turn. The ball's in your court, and I'm waiting to receive it back. Bye.